Kaede Hanjo just bought a new MMORPG game called New World Online, with plans on playing the game with her best friend, Shiramine Risa. Kaede has never played games before, with only buying this one because Risa told her to. Risa is unable to play the game because her mom wants her to study, but she insists that Kaede play by herself. Kaede goes by the name of Maple in game, being the English translation for her name. Maple reads the description for the starting equipment and realizes that she doesn't have great hand-eye coordination and she doesn't want to get hurt, assuming that if she puts all her stats into defense, she wouldn't get hurt. Even when the game wants her to distribute her points, she puts all of them into defense. She's amazed by the world's graphics, with it giving her mob gear and her learning how to walk for the first time, but because she put all her points into defense, her vitality stats are too high, meaning she can't walk normally, walking very slowly. In town, she asked a short blonde girl to where she could find monsters at to level up, being Frederica, telling her to go to the west, to the forest, with Frederica meeting up with Drag and Pain later on. She's attacked by a monster who is unable to hurt her, with the monster attacking her for hours, with Maple taunting the creature the entire time. Eventually, she's given points and vitality for her accomplishment, with in-game being rewarded for repetitive action with no cap on their potential. After realizing this, she lets Mr. Bunny keep attacking her, but eventually, Mr. Bunny dies, with her feeling very attached to the creature, crying, mourning the creature. With her putting all her points back into defense, she's next attacked by a poisonous bee, but is able to raise her poison stats because of it, playing dead so it would keep attacking her, letting the bee think that she's dead, to only let it run into her blade, increasing her level to level 8. Upon defeating the bee, she receives a ring. The ring gives her more vitality and health regeneration, and the passive bonus being Giant Killer. Exhausted by her day, she goes to sleep with monsters attacking her while she's sleeping, doing this for several hours. A man in red armor sees this, but keeps walking, not knowing what's going on. She acquires the skill Meditation when she wakes up. Then she kills the nearby monsters that have been attacking her for hours, having 130 vitality points. Afterwards, she logs off, with people talking about her achievements. She runs into the same man in red who saw her yesterday, named Kuramo, and the two of them go to a crafter. The crafter is Iz, who likes to tease Kuramo. She lets her know she needs to get 3 million coins to get the armor she wants. Iz tells her to go to the Poison Dragon's Labyrinth, with everyone exchanging contact information. When she leaves to go, the two of them wonder if she did see enough to actually wander into the dragon's dungeon. With the two of them looking at each other, knowing the answer, she meets the slime monsters at the entrance, but her sword attacks are unable to damage the creature, so she improvises, attacking it with her shield, gaining the skill Shield Attack, fighting more challenging creatures along the way, making it to the main boss's lair. The dragon chunks her health with Poison Breath, with her healing herself back to full, lasting for a while until she becomes immune to all poison, with the dragon not being able to damage her anymore. She's picked up by the beast, and she's given the idea from the dragon's fangs to eat the monster, acquiring the skill Hydra Eater, now able to use all the poison dragon's powers. With this, she assumes that she can just outlast her opponents, rather than attacking them. In the chest, she gets a one-of-a-kind equipment that if it gets broken, gets stronger, and also is able to regenerate afterwards, being the Black Rose set, raising her defense to a whopping total of 864 defense. She logs off to talk to Sally, who in the background has a multiple collection of championships within video games. The next time on, she fights a flurry of lower level monsters, defeating them with shield attacks, acquiring the Savage skill. Afterwards, she sees flying ladybugs, defeating them with her katana, using a paralyzing shout move, then eating all of them, acquiring the skill Bomb Eater and Devour. At school the next day, the two girls talk about the in-game event coming up, being a battle royale style PvP. Kaede, being a collector type of person, really wants to get a medal, with Risa teasing her for being sucked into the game, but wishing she could also play, vowing to crush her studies so she can play soon. When it's time for the event, Dorizo, being the game's mascot, starts the game. Maple sits and waits while her opponents come to her, drawing a dragon instead of searching for him. A mob player named Christmas Rose talks like a shoujo protagonist, spouting how she'll be a beautiful sacrifice, finding it to be a shame to defeat her. When he attacks her, the shield's defense stats obliterate the man, without her trying to attack him. In the end, she gains a purple orb. Afterwards, she puts her shield back down, getting back to her drawing. Other players see this and agree to attack her at once while she's distracted. The fighting trio named Blazing Brothers are paralyzed by her katana, with her tapping them on their body, gaining another orb stack. Soon, a number of players attack her at once, with the event being televised on the big screen, defeating more than 100 players, with the surrounding player base treating Maple like a final boss. When surrounded, she decides to use her katana, calling out the skill Hydra. Being a crystallized version of the monster she faced, the Hydra monster bathes the players in poison, with her taking home 3rd place. Maple gives her interview, being very embarrassed by the attention, coming off as adorable to the crowd. When she tells Risa her stats and her level, Risa realizes that she just created a monster, realizing only Maple could make a monster without even trying. But not wanting to copy her stats, she decides to become a swashbuckler, becoming an untouchable duo. With Maple being pumped by this idea, Risa goes by the name Sally, telling Maple it's bad practice to use their real names on online video games. The two play as mob characters, so that Sally can actually level up. Sally uses her agility to get the both of them through the forest to the underground lake, where they spend most of their time fishing for white scales. These white scales are for Maple so she can get her new shield. Sally decides to swim for the scales, seeing that she is a strong swimmer and athletic person in real life, with real life stats actually applying to the video game. Grabbing a pile of them when she's done, she informs Maple of an underwater sealed up cave, with her being unable to actually get there by herself, seeing that she still isn't a strong enough swimmer just yet. And seeing that Maple can't swim at all, Sally has to tackle this alone, but Sally still needs to level up. So Maple agrees to come here every day, so Sally can train. So the two girls spend all their time exploring and researching the cave. Sally can now last 40 minutes underwater, with her already mapping out the cave, using Maple as a timer while she's going to be fighting the boss. Sally is able to outmaneuver the fish monster, and after 20 minutes of fighting underwater, she gets the new gear she wanted. The two girls get ready for the next event, with Sally researching and going over their strategy, with the developers patching the game around Maple, taking away some of her stats so she can now take damage, as well as fixing her Devourer skill so she can't use it an infinite amount of times, reducing the number down to 10, with her being disappointed that she's no longer as OP, but Sally cheers her up, telling the girl that this means she can actually achieve new skills and unlock them now that she can take damage. Sally and Maple eat at the cafe, where most players are able to recognize Maple, being one of the strongest players in the game. Sally giggles, saying she now has the opportunity to eat lunch with a celebrity. Behind them, Dredd and Bragg interrupt their conversation, with the two of them talking about the event, the two players being the 2nd and 5th player in the last event respectfully, but still mentioning that no one could beat the top player, being Pain. With the remaining amount of time, they suggest the two of them go on a quest, going to the North Forest at night, saying that most girl players find it very difficult, and not wanting to spoil what the event actually is. Accepting the challenge, the two girls race off to the forest, where they encounter a ghost, scaring Sally, with her wanting to go back home, so they go check out a cabin to hide. Sally seeing this being the reason why most girl players have trouble with it, with Maple not being afraid at all with the horror monsters. Sally hears something coming underneath the table, with it leading to a basement where they see a man tied up in a chair, screaming in pain. After Sally fully heals the man, he's able to rest in peace, giving Sally the speed skill that they came for. After the event, Sally wants to end the day off at the sunset area, where the two of them pick up pearls so they can remember the day. The next day, they go to a new cave, where they're attacked by boar monsters. In the boss's room, the two of them fight a tree deer monster. The deer has its own shield. The monster is able to endure Maple's Hydra attacks, knocking her down, leaving the mission up to Sally. Sally hitting the creature with a combination of wind cutters and fireballs. When Maple wakes up, she sees Sally defeating the monster. In the 2nd level, Sally meets Iz. Iz greets them, taking them to her 2nd shop, where she gives Maple the shield she ordered. Sally takes Maple to a special place that she discovered earlier. The two of them eat sky orbs and drink some black juice that makes their eyes and hair sparkle, changing colors. On the day of the event, Maple introduces Sally to Kuromo, who guesses this is the friend she was talking about. Suddenly, the group hears a large military roar, being Mi, the leader of the Flame Emperor's Guild, encouraging her men in the battle. Kuromo explains that Mi came in 4th in the last event, but assures her that she's a very strong guild leader with a powerful group, with Maple finding her cute. The game mascot comes in to explain the event, being a treasure hunt, with there being 300 silver medals, with them being able to trade in 10 silver for a gold piece, and the gold piece being tradable for skills and items. The top 10 places from the last event already get a gold medal, allowing players to also do PvPs for the medals, or collect them if they want. The two of them are transported to the grasslands, with them being alone for an entire week, translating to 2 hours in the real world, with them having the goal of getting 20 medals. Sally takes her eyes off Maple for 1 second, with her completely losing her, with Maple finding a dungeon. Inside of the dungeon is a fast jester creature that attacks them. Maple shields the both of them, with Sally using her double slash attack. Maple finishes off the creature using a cover move and a Hydra poison attack, with cover move being used as a transportation skill rather than invasion skill, getting 2 medals. Sally then teases Maple on how she fell down a hole and fighting this weird place. The two of them climb a snowy mountain, where Kuramo and his party run into them. Sally is on guard, promising to crush them if they try attacking them, with Maple not wanting to fight her friend. Kuramo and his party have not yet had any luck getting medals in the event, so Maple wants to return the favor and let the party go first. Seeing that the event usually opens up to 1 party at a time, Sally's okay with this as long as Maple's okay with this. Their party goes into the event, but then the event reopens soon after, with the monster instantly defeating them. When they go into the event, they're greeted by an ice bird, with Sally vowing not to lose. Maple shields the two of them, but not wanting to use her Devour move so soon, but they're only having 10 of them. She then uses her Hydra poison to attack the bird, with doing little damage to the boss monster. The bird has a piercing shard attack that can actually hurt Maple, and Sally dashes in to use her slash attack while Maple eats away at its body. Even after the damage, the beast is using a Hyper Beam ice attack that would crush a normal player easily. Maple braces the attack, the next attack being a dark energy beam, with it being able to actually break her shield, leaving only Sally able to finish off the beast, with the creature assuming that it already hit Sally, but Sally using her Mirage skill is able to get back to Maple, where Maple is able to use the last bit of her mana and health to cover the monster in poison. Maple acquires the skill Scout Guardian, allowing her to survive any attack on 1 HP, but only able to use this skill once per day. Maple takes the bird's feathers, using it as a material, and the two of them go to the bird's nest, Maple taking away the green monster egg, and Sally taking away the white one. In a separate room, the developers are shocked by how 2 players are actually able to defeat a monster, with them assuming the creature they made was unbeatable, giving it enormous stats just to troll players, but deciding to nerf the rewards down, so Maple doesn't create anything more outrageous. When the 2 eggs hatch, they're given rings, and are now able to fight with their pet. Maple names her turtle Syrup, so they can be known as Maple Syrup. Sally names her pet Oboro. In the desert Mirage, they encounter Kasumi, who's waiting for the both of them. Kasumi coming in 6th place in the last event, ready to unsheath her katana, with Sally being eager for a fight. Now that's gonna do it for this video, and as always, if you liked what you saw here, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be uploading more daily videos just like this one, so I'll see you next time.